So BFE456 asked me to talk about masturbation addiction. This is clearly not a subject I would have thought to bring up on my own, because he gets banned everywhere like I do, like a lot of people do, and no one wants to admit to it. So he has nowhere to discuss this or even bring it up. And that's unfortunate. While I don't think masturbation addiction is as big of a concern as he does, it does bring up an interesting point of we're not allowed to have real discussion on the internet. Supposedly the internet is free, but yet we're always restricted to what the twat that's in the moderator position thinks and deems fit to talk about. And what do you think they're going to talk about? Do you think they're going to talk about objective issues, or do you think they're going to talk about something that circle jerks them? I think that's the problem. That masturbation addiction exists on a metaphysical level. I don't think there's anything wrong with masturbation or masturbation addiction in the physical sense. If you are over masturbating and it's ruining your scrotum, it's bad, but it's not as destructive as the behavior of the circle jerk. That's what worries me, the circle jerk, not the person jerking themselves off. And I have sympathy for all addicts, drug addicts, alcoholics, masturbation addicts, whatever, because these people represent the plight of the working man. These people represent what is wrong with our society, that they have had to cling to something material to fill the void that society is unwilling to fill for them. Why do people get addicted to masturbation? That's the question, not whether or not they are, not whether or not what it's doing to them. Why are they addicted to masturbating? At what point did they lose control of their life when it came to taking 15 minutes out of your time to get that little biological high you get from ejaculating and having all those hormones run through you? Well, it probably has a lot to do with their personal life and how they don't have means to have real sexual intimacy. I can pretty much guarantee that most people addicted to masturbation are not connected well enough with their partners where they get the benefit of sex without needing to have it over and over again. I myself have never really masturbated all that much, so I don't know what's going through their head. I don't know how that feels. I can't say that I even could comprehend it fully. But from what I've gathered, from what I see around me, a lot of people do not have meaningful relationships. And I don't mean just in their personal lives as, intimacy. I mean in general. People do not have anything to hope for. They do not have friends. They do not have ambitions. They do not have success. And they do not have intimacy. What do you think is going to happen when you lack in every single regard? So, if you want to help people with addiction, you can't give them a 20-step program. You can't, help them find religion. That's not going to solve anything. You have to fill that void. And how do you fill that void? By being there for them. By being their friend. By being their lover. By being family. That's how you fulfill that void. And that's the only reason a lot of these religious sectors help people get out of addiction. They think it's because it's the power of God overcoming them, or the power of prayer, or some other shit. But what it's really about is they have a life. They have people around them that are being positive toward them and directing positive response toward them. And that gives them something to do. It gives them something to hope for. And thus they don't have to cling to whatever their addiction of choice might be. So that's what it comes down to. People need more positive influence in their life. And if someone is addicted to something, I'm not going to judge them for it. Because, quite frankly, it's not surprising to me at all. I'm surprised people are not more addicted. I'm surprised everyone isn't an alcoholic, or a drug addict, or a masturbation addict, or whatever. Because there is absolutely nothing to enjoy in life. There is nothing happy about life. There is nothing meaningful about life. And it doesn't have to be that way, but mankind has chosen to make it that way, especially in the first world. So, that's why you have the problems that you do. And I'm sure there are biological reasons people get addicted to masturbation as anything else. those triggered responses of good feelings and, oxytocin, or however the hell that word's pronounced, those kinds of things, systematically make you want it more and more. That's what it's designed to do. That was our nature. We were designed to procreate. That's how we survive. So our biological makeup made it to where we are semi-addicted to sex so that we make sure to reproduce, so that we don't die out. There are a lot of animals, like the panda, that aren't doing that. And that's why we have to fucking nanny goddamn panda bears, because left to their own devices, they will die. And maybe they should die, because why are we preserving panda bears? What do they do for the environment? Would the world be a dramatically different place without pandas? I mean, they're cute, they're fluffy, but what do they really do? Butterflies and bees are far more constructive and valuable, and there's so much more to learn from them than a fucking panda. But you're never going to see one of these animal protection programs using bees and butterflies for their bumper stickers. Why? Because butterflies and bees aren't as cute. Maybe people like butterflies because they're colorful, but they don't like bees because bees sting. But you know what? That's why bees are able to pollinate. Because not only do they pollinate, but when something tries to kill them, they sting that motherfucker. So they not only have time to survive, they have time to survive and then be productive. That's the way the world should be. Bees are not aggressive. Well, some African bees are, but that's because we genetically mutated regular bees into psychotic African bees. But what I'm saying is that bees have a place in nature. They know their place, they do it well, and they are equipped with self-defense mechanisms to ensure that they live long enough to do their role in the natural environment. And that is beautiful. That shows objective purpose in life. And bees have that, and yet intelligent human beings do not. What does that say about us? How can we claim to be the most advanced species on this planet when cockroaches and bees get it more than we do? They are practically nanobots. We are lagging behind as this hairless mammal crawling through the mud, jacking off, eating our banana, grunting and scratching ourselves, just trying to make sense out of all this shit. It doesn't matter our infrastructure. It doesn't matter how articulated we are about it. At the end of the day, we do not know our own role in nature. How can we claim to be the advanced species with that? So, that's my opinion on the matter. I'm sure that he thinks that masturbation is much more serious and dangerous than I do. I just don't. I have not taken the time to study upon it. I'm sure if I did, maybe my views would change a little. But in my opinion, it just doesn't seem like something to worry about. And if, let's say, it was something to worry about, I'm pretty sure it would fall in line with the same thinking as an alcoholic or a drug addict. It isn't about the addiction itself. It's about the society that perpetuated that addiction, because what else does he have going for him? So, whether or not masturbation or alcohol or drugs are destructive behavior is irrelevant to the fact that our lives are destructive. We're just a fucking ticking time bomb, waiting to die. That, to me, is the bigger concern than whether or not we cut that life short because of the poisons we choose to ingest. We all have our own poisons that we're addicted to. And it's a shame that we're cutting our lives short because of it, but to be fair, what part of our lives are we cutting out? The last 10 years where we're old and decrepit, nobody gives a fuck about us anyway, and we're dying in a hospital bed somewhere? I don't need those 10 years anyway. And some people might argue that if I lived a healthy life and a healthy lifestyle, that I wouldn't have those last 10 years, and I could just die healthy. Like one day I would just be jogging and drop dead. But I sincerely doubt that. And even if that's the case, I'm still dead, so it makes no difference. What makes a difference is how we treat each other, the things we remember, our memories, our experiences, what we have to look forward to. That's what makes the difference. And I think you would accomplish far more by focusing on that rather than the addiction itself. many people would not be addicted to substances if they had the friends and family they needed to not have to cling to those addictive substances. I'm sure there would still be people that do drugs and have alcohol addiction and all this other shit. But there wouldn't be nearly as many, and it wouldn't be nearly as destructive personally. You could be an alcoholic and still live your life. You could be on drugs and still live your life. There are many people that do, and they're never talked about. We never hear the story of the person that's a cokehead and holds a steady job and is a good parent, and they exist, but it's just not as common as it could be because, well, look at our society. The minute people find out you do cocaine, oh, you're ostracized. And you know what? Cocaine, as bad as it is not really all that destructive compared to half the shit that's legal. Diet pills are essentially synthetic cocaine, and they're sold over counters. I think you could be as young as 15 and get diet pills without even ID. And nobody cares, but that'll jack your shit up. Many people are addicted to diet pills, and you know what? They don't give you that high cocaine does. So why the fuck do we sell them? How come we're not making commercials, condemning diet pills? Why are we advertising them as diet pills to begin with? They don't actually help you lose weight. All they do is jack you up. So if you want to stay up all night, maybe you're a trucker or something, take a diet pill. Or if you want to be all edgy and, go to a party and be just pounding, dancing away, take a diet pill. But don't lie to us and say that this will magically, do shit for us that it's not, and try to sound scientific with ginseng and all these other, exotic plants extracts, because it's bullshit. I would rather someone just say straight up that this is cocaine, this will fuck you up, and if you want to get fucked up, this would be the best way to do it. That, to me, shows more integrity and more trust on a consumer to seller level. I don't know what word I was going for. But then fucking diet pills. I'll just say that outright. I trust drug dealers more than I trust the basic pharmaceutical companies that sell half these pills over the counter. So that's my view of addiction in general, not just masturbation addiction. And I hope BFE456 likes this video. I hope that it brought him the closure he sought, and I hope that helps bring that issue to fruition. I hope that helps bring the issue to light, and that way he can talk about this issue with other people and feel like it's a more legitimate conversation. He doesn't have to feel like it's his fault that people do not want to talk about this issue. Whether or not you agree with him or disagree with him, that's not the concern. The concern is he should be able to talk about this and not feel condemned for it. He should be able to talk about this and not feel ashamed for it. He obviously cares about humanity enough to where this concerns him. He thinks it's destructive behavior. He has found, links and articles to back up his argument. He cares about this. That's the main thing. He cares. All of us should care. And if more of us started caring, I think our society would move forward. And maybe then we could be like the honeybees or the cockroaches. And I know some people are going to be like, why would you aspire to be a cockroach or a honeybee? Well, if you had fucking watched the video, you would know why. The cockroach and the honeybee know what's up. You don't. That's why your life is miserable. You don't see cockroaches and honeybees snorting cocaine and jumping off fucking buildings. It doesn't happen. And it's not because they're unsentient. It's because they're not suffering. I understand that animals do not have the complicated process of thinking that we do. I understand animals are not as self-aware as we are. But animal suicide just does not happen. I do not think that has anything to do with our superior intelligence. I think that has to do more so with they know their natural place in life. They have far more to live for than we do. And that's why they're not addicted and fucking suicidal and don't have moderators and bullshit. Because they're more in tune with who they are and what they're a part of. So, I guess that's really all I have to say.